We're going to talk about a basketball player whose incredible journey has kind of gotten lost to time, overshadowed by the absolute legends he played alongside. We're talking about a five-time NBA champion, a guy who was once seen as the next Michael Jordan. We are talking about Ron Harper.
And let's just start with this because, wow, that's a massive statement from Dennis Rodman, someone who played with both of them. Was Ron Harper really Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan? I mean, it sounds almost impossible, right? But when you dig into the beginning of his career, you start to see exactly what Rodman was talking about.
So let's rewind the clock to the late 1980s. Long before they were teammates on those powerhouse Chicago Bulls teams, Ron Harper was one of Michael Jordan's biggest, and I mean biggest, competitors on the court.
He just exploded onto the scene. Right out of the gate. As a rookie, he was an absolute force. An incredible scorer, a tenacious defender. He finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting, putting up almost 23 points a night. The guy was the whole package, a legit two-way star from day one.
And if you need any proof, look no further. This was his very first game against Michael Jordan. Now, yeah, MJ went off because, he's Michael Jordan. But the rookie Ron Harper, he did not back down one bit. He went toe-to-toe with him, putting up a stat line that screamed, "I belong here." He showed he could hang with the very guy everyone was comparing him to.
What makes Harper's rise even more amazing is that his path to the NBA was, it was anything but typical. It all started with some pretty major setbacks way back in high school.
Can you believe that? The guy who would one day be a key piece on championship teams was actually cut from his high school team as a freshman. Didn't even play his sophomore year. But he didn't quit. He transferred, he worked his tail off, and by his senior year, he was one of the top players in the entire state. That is just pure grit.
And the challenges he faced weren't just about basketball. Harper dealt with a severe stutter his whole life, something that kids would unfortunately make fun of him for. But instead of letting it break him, he said it actually made him stronger. It built his resolve. He poured himself into basketball, and that's where he built his confidence.
So after fighting through all that, he gets to college at Miami of Ohio, and he just becomes a legend. I'm not kidding. He didn't just play well, he basically rewrote their entire record book. Two-time Conference Player of the Year, the school's all-time leader in points and rebounds. You can make a serious argument he's the greatest player in the history of that conference.
So everything's pointing up, right? This high-flying, athletic superstar that Jordan before Jordan is on a path to greatness. And then it all came to a sudden and just devastating halt.
After making a name for himself as a star in Cleveland, he gets traded to the LA Clippers, which was a bit of a shock. But a change of scenery didn't slow him down at all. He just kept on cooking, dropping 23 points a game and cementing himself as a premier offensive weapon in the league.
And then, disaster. A catastrophic knee injury. You have to remember, for a player whose entire game was built on just pure explosive athleticism, tearing an ACL back in 1990 was basically a death sentence for your career. That one injury robbed him of the very thing that made him a superstar.
So now, he's at a massive crossroads. His career could be over. But Ron Harper didn't just recover, he completely reinvented himself. And this is where his story takes an incredible turn. Okay, so let's be crystal clear about who he was before the big change. This is the before picture. He was the guy, the #1 scoring option. A player who was consistently, year after year, putting up over 20 points a game. This was the Ron Harper everybody knew. And now, look at this. This is the pivot, the after picture. He joins the Chicago Bulls, and his scoring numbers just plummet. We're talking single digits. But look at that column on the far right. He gave up the personal stats, the glory, for team success, and in doing so, he became a champion.
So what did that new role look like? Well, it definitely wasn't as glamorous, but it was absolutely critical. He bought into Phil Jackson's triangle offense, which takes a really high basketball IQ, and he used his size to become a lockdown defender on the perimeter. His job was to guard the other team's best scorer, night in and night out, so that guys like Jordan and Pippen could save their energy for offense. So selfless.
And it's this unbelievable transformation, right? From superstar to super role player. That's what truly cemented Ron Harper's legacy as an all-time winner.
After winning that historic three-peat with the Bulls, you'd think he'd be done, right? Nope. He followed his coach, Phil Jackson, all the way to Los Angeles, and won 2 more championships with the next great NBA dynasty, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers.
Just let that sink in for a second. 5 championships in 6 years. He was a vital, starting piece on two of the greatest dynasties in the history of sports. That is just an incredible and seriously overlooked accomplishment.
Ron Harper's story really makes you ask the question, what is the true definition of greatness? He was a superstar who had his greatest gift, his athleticism, taken away from him. And instead of just fading away, he remade himself into something totally different, something even more enduring. It's just a powerful story about adapting, about sacrifice, and about the ultimate will to win.